Hey PayPal, it's Chef Instructor James and your host Penny here. Thank you so much for having us as a part of your end of year party, the All Together Gathering.
We're coming to you live from the heart of Melbourne, Australia, sharing with you today some of my Italian family recipes.
After a year full of challenges, we are celebrating together tonight in our first ever end of year party as one team. So team, let's get cooking. Chef James, what is in store today?
We're cooking some bruschetta as entree. Then we're going to do an amazing dish, gnocchi alla Sorrentina, which is a typical dish from my region, and I really love it since I was a child.
Yum, I cannot wait. Guys, let's get ready to cook. We're going to tell you what you're going to need on your benches and what ingredients you're going to need. So, Chef James, let's start. So, Chef James, what are these guys going to need on their benches and what ingredients are they going to need starting to prepare?
So, we're going to make, first of all, a bruschetta, which is a classical Italian entree. What they need is just a little bit of bread. We're going to do a kind of different version from the classic one with fresh tomatoes. So, we're going to use instead like sun-dried tomato, basil pesto, and bocconcini.
What kind of bread would you recommend is the best for bruschetta?
Pane di casa.
Pane di casa.
Whatever it's called, pane di casa.
I love his accent. Pane di casa. Sì, va bene.
Basically any sourdough bread like you can find everywhere. But what you're looking for is basically something with a lot of inside. First of all, before we start to do the bruschetta, we should start to first boiling our potato. That's the main things for the gnocchi. You want to boil your potato. Possibly the best if you boil the night before and you let it rest in the fridge.
Yeah.
Because this is gonna dry all the excess moisture that will be left in the potato after we boiling them.
Amazing.
In terms of quality of potato, the best potato for the gnocchi are the Desiree
or
potatoes. Red potatoes because they're quite floury inside. They're quite like they already have less content of moisture. Another thing is that if you can't leave it overnight, that's totally fine. Like you might need slightly a little bit more of flour when we combine, but that's totally perfect.
Excellent.
So first of all, we're going to boil our potato.
Perfect. And they are Desiree potatoes or red potatoes. And I love that Chef James explained they're a bit more of a floury consistency, which is perfect for making pasta because what do we do with pasta? It's flour and water and potato for your gnocchi.
Exactly.
Amazing.
So I'm just going to pop some water in this.
Perfect. And how long should these be cooking in your boiling water for?
They have to boil, of course, depends on the size of the potato, but basically they need to boil till they're going to be soft.
Perfect.
You will go with a fork, you will poke it in and they have to be completely soft.
So while you're making your bruschetta, guys, you want these babies on the boil for about 45 minutes. Let's make sure not to burn anything down.
Absolutely.
But we want them to come to a boil and popping your fork in, they should be nice and mushy.
Nice.
Okay. Okay, so first up, our bruschetta. Am I pronouncing it correct? Not so much.
It's fine. Like the correct pronunciation is a bruschetta.
Bruschetta.
Yeah, the CH sounds like a K.
Perfect.
So it's bruschetta, but I've heard many times called a bruschetta. Okay. So I know what we're talking about. But the correct pronunciation is bruschetta.
Bruschetta. First up is our bruschetta.
So put your apron on and let's start cooking.
Here's what I prepared earlier. Amazing. So antipasto is what we begin an Italian meal.
Yeah, you can call antipasto.
Yep.
You can call entree.
Perfect.
You can call appetizer. Is anything that you have before the main. And basically what it does is just opening up your stomach and get you ready for the main part of the lunch.
Well, my stomach is sufficiently opened. I hope yours is too, guys, because we are in for a feast.
So what we need to do first of all is cutting the bread.
Yeah.
You want to cut like something of almost like 1 finger thick.
Yeah.
Because you don't want the bread to burn too quickly. You want to get the crust quite nice and crisp. Perfect. And you want the center part to stay soft and slightly golden brown color. Gorgeous.
Listen to that crunch. As James is cutting the bread is just stunning. This really nostalgic feeling of when you're eating crunchy bread. It just transports me to somewhere like Italy or France, and it's gorgeous.
Bread is such an amazing meal. Yeah. I could live almost like on bread every day. I eat so much bread.
Yeah. Perfect.
Perfect. So you want something about this thickness.
Amazing.
Now we're gonna cook this bread over like a grill pan. You can just like let them grilled on both the side.
Yeah. Gorgeous. So we want to actually grill our bread before we pop anything on it.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
You can do on a grill pan. If you have a barbecue on, just do on a barbecue. You can do in the grill. If you don't have a pan, you can just put in the grill in the oven. There is many ways that you can go around to use it. Okay, so let's check the bruschetta.
Great. I can smell bread
Ready?
cooking. Awesome.
Yeah. So that's what we're looking for, this kind of color, like a kind of burnt almost on the outside, but golden brown inside. And in case you might burn a little bit more, like if you go a little bit over, a little bit more charcoal, like it's not the end of the world. You just get rid of the little bit of the black, and that's totally fine. Cool. Another trick that I normally use for give a little bit more of flavor to a bruschetta, because it's just like a very simple kind of dish.
Yeah.
Bit of garlic. But rather than put like in the ingredient in the topping, and then you will have like in your mouth, I'm just gonna crush a little bit with a knife.
Yeah.
And I do that for two reasons. First of all, I start to get a little bit tender and soft garlic.
Yeah.
But also because there are some ingredients, some nutrients, some element in the skin of the garlic that are actually really good for your body.
Fantastic.
And doing it this way, we break down an ingredient into the garlic, and then we're gonna put on the bread.
So many healthy properties in garlic as well.
Really good.
Yeah. Fantastic. Oh, I'm intrigued. So are we going to mince that garlic and put it on top?
No, we're just gonna. That's one for you. You can try. I'll show you. So basically, what you do is just gently rub the garlic over the bread.
Like a little bit of a garlic massage.
Exactly.
Great. Amazing.
In this way, basically, you give the flavor to the garlic to the bruschetta, but avoiding without having those bits of garlics inside your mouth.
So we're not warding off the vampires.
Exactly.
As I really don't like doing. Yeah, I really love this. It's kind of like a little garlic massage to your bread.
Exactly.
And immediately those fragrances coming out are just gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, amazing.
Then we're going to top with pesto.
Gorgeous.
This is my pesto.
Okay.
I'll just give you a quick secret to get a really bright pesto.
Please.
So before you blend the basil, either in a food processor, if you use a mortar and pestle, just blanch the basil quickly for 20 seconds in boiling water, and then you wash in underneath running water, cold running water, in a cold bath. And this will keep the basil super green. And you also can use this with any green. You cook in broccolini, you blanch for 20 seconds, and then you wash underneath cold water, and then you finish to cook in a pan, and they're gonna stay bright and green.
Brilliant. And so guys, obviously, if you're not making your own pesto, that's so fine. You can grab it from a grocery store or a delicatessen.
Absolutely.
In the cold aisle of the supermarket. Otherwise, if they do want to give their own pesto a go, what goes
It's
into
very
pesto?
simple. It's a very super simple recipe. You just have to, as I say, blanch the basil a little bit.
Yeah.
In a hot water, then you wash underneath cold water or running like in a cold bath.
Yeah.
Then you put everything in a food processor, basil, pine nuts, or you can use macadamia nuts or almonds. The original recipe is with pine nuts.
Great.
Garlic, bit of pecorino cheese or parmigiano cheese. And then when you start to blend, you add slowly the oil.
Extra virgin olive oil?
Extra virgin olive oil.
Perfect.
Till it's going to be completely nice, smooth, creamy as a paste. You don't want to blend it too much. You want to still have a little bit of crunchiness, a little bit of crunchiness of the garlic and the pine nuts, a little bit of the flavor. Salt and pepper just to adjust, because you use like pecorino cheese or parmigiano, which they're quite salty. So you can just add a little bit after.
Wonderful.
We have our basil underneath. We can just add our cherry tomato on top.
I was wondering what that little contraption was for. I thought it might be the old pluck of the old eyebrows.
Okay.
That's so gorgeous.
Just some cherry tomato. That's my
Wow.
sun-dried tomato.
And if these guys wanted to achieve a sun-dried tomato at home, what can they do?
So first of all, they need like 2 or 3 days of hot sun.
Yeah.
That's the
okay.
main ingredient that you need. I mean, like if you don't have like 2-3 days of hot sun, what you can do is just like heating up your oven
Yeah.
up to the maximum temperature. Then you cool it down to 50, 70 degrees.
Yeah.
And then you dry the tomato inside for 3 hours, 4 hours, depends on how many you make.
Beautiful.
The reason that you need 3 days of sun is because if there is not enough sun, the batch is going to get moldy and then you need to throw everything.
There you go. And I love this kind of oil that's coming out of the
Yeah, it's gonna give a nice
sun-dried
flavor.
tomatoes.
And that's
Beautiful.
why you want the bruschetta to still keep like a kind of crusty surface.
Yeah.
So it's going to get soft and moist slowly with oil and the other ingredient.
Okay, great.
Bocconcini on top.
Oh, love bocconcini.
I didn't make this one.
Okay,
There is something I can
he's
make.
not that perfect. He's pretty perfect. So with the bocconcini, this is essentially mozzarella cheese.
Exactly. That's just mozzarella cheese. We're just
Awesome.
going to put on top.
Beautiful. So you could use these little ones, which again you could grab from your
Any
deli,
supermarket, any deli. If you
Perfect.
don't find the bocconcini, you can use like some mozzarella.
Yes.
You can just chop it up like in small pieces. You can use burrata.
Oh, wouldn't that
Burrata's
be
gonna
so
open, it's
indulgent?
gonna be amazing.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, basically you can use a little bit of everything. You can top it up with a little bit of parmesan if you want, but you can keep it simple as it is. 3 ingredients. It's gonna be a beautiful flavor. You just finish with a little bit of salt.
Gorgeous. And the salt that you're using here is more of like a rock salt.
It's a rock
kind of
salt,
thing?
yeah.
Great, like a sea salt, rock salt.
Absolutely. I like to have a little bit of crunchiness, a little bit of
Extra.
flavor,
Yeah.
and salt gives a really nice flavor.
Perfect.
So that's our bruschetta.
That's it.
They
Dish
are
number
ready.
1. Oh,
It's
that
amazing.
crunch is amazing. Oh my god. There is a symphony of flavor going on in my mouth.
And the
right
sound
now.
as well. You have the first thing, you have the crunchiness of the bread, then the garlic kicking,
Yep.
then all the other ingredients, they almost smooth the strong flavor
So
of garlic.
beautiful,
You
yeah.
have the pesto, you have the sun-dried tomato, which they have like a really nice flavor between
that
like sweet and sour.
Smoothness of that sun-dried tomato oil as well just kind of blends it all together.
Absolutely.
And my favorite thing is definitely, guys, use that sea salt because that extra crunch and that lift of that sea salt is just brilliant.
It's amazing. Such a simple recipe.
So
and
simple. And the
love
other
it.
thing that I love, which Chef James told me, is that the colours of this, isn't it brilliant how we've got the Italian flag essentially on our bruschetta.
Bruschetta.
So you've got that bright green of that pesto, that gorgeous bright red of the sun-dried tomato, the beautiful white mozzarella. They are the 3 colours of the Italian flag, which I think is brilliant.
Exactly. Yeah, it's beautiful and like it's a good combination of color. And you also like to you eat first with your eyes. So you want to have like a nice combination of color. You want to have like a nice presentation, but not going overly too much.
For sure.
Yeah,
It's
this
so
is
visually
simple.
appealing, and I think again in so many different cultures and cuisine, color is such an important factor of plating. You know, in Asian cuisine, Japanese, Chinese cuisine, color is an emphasis to plating, and so this, guys, is going to be a showstopper of an appetizer for your guests. It is absolutely delicious, celebrating seasonal produce, but definitely try and use that sea salt. That's my top pick for today.
It's amazing.
Amazing, James. So delicious, guys. I hope you're enjoying this as much as we are, PayPal team. But next up, we are going to teach our main dish,
Gnocchi.
gnocchi. Here
Let's
we
go for the gnocchi.
Okay, so bruschetta down.
We can move to the gnocchi. That's our
Amazing.
main. Our potato ready. We're just leaving here cooling down. Now, let them cooling down till you can actually handle. You don't
Yeah.
want to burn yourself.
We don't want a hot potato.
Exactly. And in another occasion, if you want, you can actually prepare the potato overnight, the night before, leave it in the fridge without coverage. It's going to lose a little bit of the moisture and that's going to be even better. Meanwhile, we just let it cooling down. And while we wait that the potato they're cooling down a little bit, we start to make our sauce.
Cool.
Gnocchi alla Sorrentina, that's the name of the dish. Sorrento is a city nearby the Amalfi Coast.
Beautiful.
And this dish, it's one of the most popular dishes. Everyone's love it. It's a favorite from every child. I remember that when I was a kid, it was one of my favorite dish. Very simple tomatoes, very simple sauce. It's basically like a tomato passata.
Yeah.
We're gonna use like 1 liter of tomato passata.
Perfect.
Which is a beautiful tomato sauce.
Gorgeous.
Basil.
Yeah.
And bocconcini on top and a little bit of parmesan. The sauce is gonna be cooked first into the pan, in a saucepan or whatever is gonna suit you. And then we're gonna finish, when we do the gnocchi, we're gonna parboil them, like we're just gonna boil them for a while. Then we're gonna put in this ramekin. I have this one, which they're actually the one that will serve you if you go in Sorrento.
Beautiful.
But you feel free to use any oven-proof baking dish, like anything that can suit in the oven. We're gonna top with that. We're gonna put a little bit of parmesan on top in the grill for the last few minutes. We're gonna have like a nice crust. And when you're gonna grab with the fork, the gnocchi is gonna nice. Yeah, exactly.
Love a good cheese.
That's beautiful. And I was
Amazing.
thinking now of tomato sauce. I keep saying tomato sauce, and I've been correct so many times. Okay, what do you mean ketchup? So no, I mean like for me, tomato sauce is the passata. It's like the tomato sauce, which is not the ketchup. So
interesting.
don't put ketchup in your pasta.
Don't put ketchup in your pasta.
In any pasta, no ketchup. So let's start with the sauce. We're just gonna move on the stove, put a pan or saucepan on the stove, and let's start to cook it.
Amazing. Let's do it. Exciting. Now, again, in the Italian, Sorrentina.
Gnocchi alla sorrentina.
Gnocchi alla Sorrentina.
First of all, what we need is a drizzle of olive oil.
Wonderful. Extra virgin olive oil again.
Virgin olive oil. Like if you cook, I rather prefer to suggest a virgin olive oil rather than an extra virgin olive oil. Extra virgin is more for finishing, like for a salad, or if you put it at the end on top of the pasta, because you want to have the beautiful, nice flavor of extra virgin olive oil.
Yes,
but if you have just an extra virgin olive oil, go for it. That's totally fine.
Perfect.
We put the fire on.
Great.
Bit of garlic. And you can use garlic like as much as you like, as much as you prefer.
We like extra garlic.
Extra garlic.
Extra garlic, extra flavour. Wonderful. Now, how are you guys doing? Obviously, we've had our bruschetta, you've got your potatoes resting, and now we're going to start on our sauce. So saucepan's on, and James has got like a medium, probably to large size pot. James, would you say a large size pot is a good one?
Yeah, absolutely. For this type of sauce, for the quantity that we're using today, definitely go with a big one.
Great.
And also, like, it's quite easy to cook with big one. You less splash everywhere.
Yes.
With garlic, as I said before, just gonna gently squash it.
Beautiful.
And for this recipe, I'm actually gonna put the garlic with its own skin on.
Oh.
This is called in Italian aglio in camicia.
Aglio e camicia.
Exactly. Aglio is garlic, and camicia is sherb. So it's kind of an elegant type of garlic.
A garlic which is still wearing its shirt. A very modest garlic.
A very modest garlic. It's for a good occasion. It's the end of the year party, so it wants to be a little bit more dressed up for that. So we're going to let our garlic start to sizzling a little bit.
Yeah.
It's up to you if you want to take it out or not. We're going to get the sauce to get kind of thick.
Yeah.
But still like saucy, because we're gonna finish the gnocchi to cook in the oven. So we don't want to have completely dry sauce. We don't want to have a paste.
Great.
We're gonna add already a little bit of basil in the flavor, because it's just give like a beautiful aroma.
And immediately as you're chopping that, the aroma is just bursting. It's gorgeous.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Pinch of salt, pinch of pepper.
Perfect.
To adjust. Some tomato that have a little bit of acidity, which is normal. This is just part of the tomato.
Yep.
You can get rid of the acidity basically with a slow cooking process. The longer it cooks, the less it's going to start to lose the acidity.
Amazing.
The thing of the sugar, I don't know if you ever saw the people put the sugar.
Someone puts a pinch of sugar.
Well, chemically, it's a little bit like not real. It's unrealistic.
Yeah.
You put sugar, you don't correct the acidity. Because sugar corrects like the bitterness, can correct the saltiness, but not the acidity. Will actually work a teaspoon of bicarbonate soda.
Oh, that's so clever.
Chemistry, will change the acidity, because bicarbonate soda will change like the chemistry and the pH of the tomato sauce. But definitely,
tomato sauce could be so scientific.
but still, as I always say, sometimes we do things just because they bring up some memory.
Yes.
And I know that my grandma will never say, put a pinch of sugar inside there.
Yes.
So I will keep doing it. Actually, it will give me the illusion that it tastes like a sweeter and they lost that acidity. Just because I remember that she was doing it this way. Nonna used to do it.
Yeah.
So we let the tomato start to cook, start to reduce. Meanwhile, we move back to the bench and we start to prepare the gnocchi.
Time to get our hands dirty.
Let's go. So we have our potato. Let's start with the flour.
Great.
As I say, we normally need like 100 grams for this amount of potato, but we might need probably less.
Okay.
Depends on how much moisture is inside. Also, we need an eggs.
And will it also depend, James, on the type of potato that the participants have used?
Absolutely. Great. That's why we recommended the Desiree potato, because the Desiree potato, they have more floury consistency.
Perfect.
And they keep less moisture inside.
Great.
So, you want me to break your eggs?
Please. What a gentleman. The service is fantastic. Okay, here we go. I'm getting a little nervous. But it's not my first time making pasta, thankfully. I had made my first pasta with James, and I did a good job, I think.
Absolutely, yeah.
But here we go again.
Let's go get messy. Let's start to mix the...
All right, so the action that you're doing is literally just this.
Just mixing,
Okay.
just make
Whoa.
like the... Yeah, it's gonna be a bit soggy.
Little kid again, kind of like working with Play-Doh or something like that.
Well, look, I think you never have to lose that kind of kid in these things. You have to keep that kind of enjoying and exploring, but without that judgmental things, just like that approach that's like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Learning without really thinking what you learn. You're just doing. And to be honest, like, I never cooked till I came to Australia because my mom, she never let me cook.
Same.
Because as a kid, as a child in Italy, I grew up, then my mom, she was always cooking for me.
Same as me.
But she was sitting me on the bench and I was looking at her cooking, watching. And then when I came to Australia, to Melbourne, I realized that I knew the recipe by heart. I already knew how to cook it.
Yeah.
If you want to watch the video.
Thank you. Wonderful. So it kind of looks a bit mushy, but that's the
It does.
consistency we want.
That's the first consistency that we want.
Great.
So now we're going to start to add a bit of flour. Start with 2 spoons.
So again, roughly 100 grams.
Roughly 100 grams, exactly.
Perfect.
You want to get that consistency that the finger that goes in the dough, but they're not getting like any more sticky and dirty outside, but you don't want to go more than that. So,
and also, I guess what I love about this process is you're cooking by feel, you're cooking by touch.
Totally.
So I know that, sometimes in pastry it could be really particular, like you need
it's a chemistry.
to the gram or to the, to the oz. But here it's kind of you're cooking with your soul, you're cooking with your heart. So it's like, all right, let's leave rough. The ingredients are kind of like, a suggestion, if you will.
Okay, it's a track, exactly.
Yeah.
And look, if you go in Italy, when you talk with any woman in Italy or any chef, nonna, they will never tell you actually any measurement. They will tell you, handful of this, handful of that, bit of this, bit of that. So I can see that mine, they're definitely still sticky.
Okay.
They definitely need more flour inside. So I'm going to add a bit more of flour.
Yeah. How are you guys doing there? Hopefully yours is coming together. Mine is still obviously pretty sticky, but James will tell us when we can stop kind of doing this action and start working on our benches. Yeah.
And you don't want to really get this work like while you're stressed. You want to do like in a relaxed mode, like in an enjoyable mode. You don't want to stress the dough. You don't want to stress the food that you're going to eat. Like you don't want to add stress as an ingredient in the gnocchi on anything that you make.
And this is something, again, that we've talked about a lot. I never knew pasta making could be such a spiritual, scientific process.
It's very zen. It's almost like finding your peace.
Yes. Every time we host one of our virtual pasta classes, we generally do them on like a Friday night or a Saturday night. And you'll find that a lot of people were saying, okay, guys, working out your dough, mixing it together, working it out. And a lot of people you're seeing, they're like...
they release all the stress of the week.
Yes, they're releasing all of that stress, that tension, and we're saying no, like just you can do that, but just try not to release that stress into your dough, because as you said, James, the dough, which sounds really bizarre but apparently true, takes on that kind of negative energy.
Change the chemistry, change the texture, change the flavor. Like it's true. It's true. Like basically, it's an action of energy, and you don't want to give like this dough like a huge amount of stress.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, one of my pizza instructor chefs, he's agreed. He's Italian, and he says, yes, I definitely know this concept. And if anything, it actually changes the acidity level within the dough itself. It actually changes the bonds of the dough. So interesting.
Absolutely.
So guys, deep breath in, out, and we continue.
Exactly. Our dough is almost ready, Penny. We have like the dough. We go with the finger inside. Comes pretty clean.
Gorgeous.
Yours as well. A little bit. It's fine. You know what? It's fine because once we're going to roll in, we're going to still add a little bit of flour. So consider also this. Once again, you're going to roll a little bit of the gnocchi. You don't want to do too much.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do now, you're going to cut like portion that you will work.
Okay.
Also going to take off this one. So we're going to have more space for work.
Perfect.
Let's take this one off. So we're going to work on here.
Yes.
I'm going to dust a bit of flour everywhere.
This is taking me back to my mum's
Yeah,
kitchen,
that's the
for
best
sure.
part.
Yeah.
Bit of flour is in your hand.
Excellent.
Nice. Now, get your roll.
Yeah.
And start to roll it. Like what you want to do is a gently movement. Move a little bit of the flour so we don't have too much. We just want to roll it. And what we want is like a kind of, in terms of thickness, we want like almost like kind of finger and a half thickness. Mm-hmm. You don't want like too thick. You don't want too small. But this is also like a very depending on how you want to make your gnocchi. If you go in different restaurants, you will find they have the big one, the small one. I like a kind of middle way, like when you get, especially for the gnocchi alla sorrentina, they're not too big because you want to have like, you want to kind of fillet something like that with gnocchi. You don't want to have either too big, neither too small.
Yeah.
Like gnocchi alla sorrentina, they are kind of halfway through. So keep rolling till you get like something almost like this one.
Mine is a little more sluggish at the moment. But
Because if you have like something like this, because probably you put too much pressure. So it's just rolling. Your hand, they're not pressing on the dough.
And that's what
but
I
they're
was
just
doing.
moving around. Yeah, exactly. You don't have to have any fingerprint, any actually like a finger squash on the roll. But it's just gently rolling.
Yeah.
And while you roll, you also go to the outside. Mm-hmm. And you keep rolling.
So essentially we're kind of wanting like a nice kind of thick snake kind of shape.
Kind of like a sausage thick. Okay, so once we arrive at this point, get a knife, get a cutter, anything, and then what do you want to cut? It's almost like, how do you call these, a phalanges?
I don't know what you just said, but sure, let's go with that.
That's the Latin name of your tip of your finger. I think it's phalanges.
I've never heard of that. How about you guys? Phalanges? Anyone? How about we just go that first little line of your finger?
First little line of your finger, you
go.
hoop as a reference. In this way, like you're going to have all the gnocchi the same size.
Got it. Great.
Not because I'm fussy, not because I need everything to be precise exactly
Maybe a
the
little
same.
fussy.
Maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little fussy.
But because when we're going to go to the cooking, they're going to cook all at the same time. They're going to cook all at the same time cooking.
There is a logic behind this madness.
Always.
A method to the madness.
So you keep cutting with the reference of your finger.
Yes.
Without cutting your finger.
Let's try not to chop those fingers, for sure. Ah, and they really are just little pillows. So beautiful.
So we have our gnocchi pillow.
Ta-da!
They're nice and fluff.
Yeah.
What we do need to do now, because like a lot of restaurants, they finish the gnocchi in this way. That's where you find the gnocchi. But I tend to always do like a series of lines on, for not just for an aesthetic reason, but also because in this way the gnocchi will hold the sauce way much better than just a plain version.
There you go. I always thought it was just for decoration.
No, it's actually for holding the sauce properly.
I love that. Now, if we don't have a contraption like this, and guys, don't stress because I definitely do not have this in my kitchen, what could we use to make these kind of shapes?
If you don't have one of these,
yes,
don't stress out. The easiest thing that you can use is a fork.
And we all have one of those.
I'm pretty sure that everyone has one of those.
If you don't, you should probably go out and get one.
If you don't have one because you're in the middle of the forest doing like a gnocchi class, you have like a connection, but you don't have a fork, you can use even like these things. Screw. You're just gonna pop on there, you're gonna roll it over this one.
What did you call it?
Skewer? Skewer?
I love this accent.
Skewer. Bamboo stick?
I thought you said squirrel, and I was like, that's not a squirrel, James.
No, don't. If you're in a forest, don't roll any gnocchi on a squirrel. Maybe like
skewers.
Skewers.
Or this pronunciation is gorgeous.
That's also. Skewers or sticks.
Squirrel.
Big toothpick. That's the first time I asked for. Do you have one of those big toothpick? If you don't have a big toothpick, you have one of these because you're lucky enough to have one of those.
A good old fork.
A good old fork. So let's show with the fork, which is probably the one that maybe most of us will have at home.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do, actually, first of all, in a tray, just put a bit of flour.
Yeah.
Plain flour, or if you have some, add some semolina. The semolina is slightly more grainy, it's more rough than the plain flour. So it's going to stick against the gnocchi, and once again, it's going to give like a rough surface, and the sauce is going to get attached.
Perfect.
Then you grab one of the gnocchi,
the
fork in your hand like this. You're going to place the gnocchi in the center of the fork, and then with your thumb, you're just going to roll it out. And then you have your stripes.
Oh, that is so amazing.
Find your easy way. You definitely have to find your comfortable way.
Yeah.
It can be a thumb, it can be another finger, whatever is going to make you feel comfortable.
Okay.
So you just go, roll it back, and then you have your lines.
Tips and tricks of the trade. Isn't that funny? Because I'm thinking, how are they achieving those gorgeous lines?
That's the easiest way. If you don't have like a fancy gnocchi roller.
But for anyone that does have a fancy gnocchi roller, can you show us how to do it on that?
That's even easier. We just dust a little bit of flour.
Beautiful.
And then you just go super easy, roll it. Of course, on this one it's nice.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
It comes with so many lines.
I think we all need a fancy gnocchi roller. You've sold me, James. Yes.
But you know what? You can even go in one of those building shops. Like in Australia, we have Bunnings.
Yes.
All around the world, you have those things.
Hardware stores.
Yes. If you get one of those timber, they already have lines.
Brilliant.
And that's what I used it before when I didn't have any gnocchi roll. So you keep like rolling.
Yeah. Brilliant.
And keep rolling. Keep rolling.
That's brilliant. Okay, fabulous. And how about squirrels? Sorry, skewers.
Skewers. No squirrels. This was what was armed during this gnocchi making. So, you just place them here.
Got it.
Maybe we need a couple more if you want to have a little bit more of lines.
Sure. Brilliant. I just love that you can, when you're cooking, you can really just use anything in your kitchen. You know, sometimes you're like, oh, darn, I don't have this, but there's always got to be a substitute.
Absolutely. And also, I think that most of the Italian recipe, or in general, most of the recipe, they came in a moment that when there was no abundance, when there was no like such a huge resource.
For sure.
And it was always like something that was coming up of your mind, like a new way.
Yes.
There is a type of pasta in Italy that they roll with a kind of skewer, but it's in metal. It's like a wire.
Ah, okay.
Nowadays, you can go in pasta shop. They actually sell you that one.
Yeah.
Back in the day, when it was actually when invented the type of pasta,
Yeah.
it was a piece of metal coming out from a broken umbrella. They were cutting that piece of metal and they were reusing for rolling the pasta. And see, that comes pretty easy. It's actually probably easier than the fork.
Yeah.
You actually roll it and you almost get like the same line like using the fancy one.
Wonderful. How gorgeous. I kind of want to give Mr. Fork a go.
Go for it.
Here we go. So in position.
Yeah.
On here.
Trying to put on the surface.
Okay.
Find your easy way. Like my way is to put like the fork like in a kind of you holding like something.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, perfect. So like this.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Put the thing on.
Yeah.
And go with your thumb, rolling out.
Thumb, rolling it out.
Bit more of pressure, yeah.
I'm being a bit gentle.
Don't be
with my
afraid.
gnocchi. All right, rolling it out.
You have to find the right amount of pressure. Not too much, not too much. A little bit more. That's it.
I've achieved a little bit of a...
It's all about practice. You have to keep trying. Try with this one. It's probably easier.
This one is probably easier. All right, here we go. So just like this.
The other way. You want to have the line in that way.
Okay.
So you just pull always your thumb. I'll show you again.
Okay.
You pull your thumb and then you roll it.
Ah.
It's basically
See,
rolls.
I'm being too precious.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
rolls over your thumb.
Okay. Rolls over your thumb. Here we go. Rolls over your thumb.
Yeah.
Yay. There
Perfect.
we go. Okay. So moral of this story is don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Just kind of go in there with some confidence and give it a
Exactly.
good roll.
You do while we finish to roll is
Yes.
put like a big pot of water on the stove, bring it to
Yes.
boil, and we keep rolling our gnocchi.
Perfect. So large pot.
Large
of
pot.
water. Generally, how much water would we normally suggest to put in?
You
your
would probably
gnocchi?
need normally 100 a liter of water for 100 grams of pasta.
Yeah.
So in this case, we're probably gonna get like 500 grams of gnocchi. So you need almost like 4 or 5 liters.
Okay, great.
It might seem like a waste, but the thing is that pasta cooks in the water. It's gonna release the starch. You don't want to have not much water inside,
Yes.
because otherwise it's going to cook in its own starch, and then
For
it's going to
sure.
have that kind of gooey texture, and
And
you
we
don't
don't
want
want
to have
that.
that.
No.
So let's put our water on the stove. Let's bring it to boil,
Yeah.
and only then we're going to add the salt.
Wonderful. Yes. This is a really important fact as well, one that I've learnt through James, is that technically when I make pasta, I'll always put a pot of cold water on the stove and then put the salt in when the water is cold. And James said, no, that is not what you want to do. You want to add in the salt when the water has reached boiling point. And that is because, James?
Because if you put the salt into the water,
Yeah.
you basically change the chemistry of the water. It's not any more water and boils to a different point.
Yeah.
Pasta needs to cook at 100 degrees boiling water.
Okay.
And also like because you change the boiling point, the pasta will cook in a different temperature, and then we'll get like a slightly not great result.
Touche.
It's just like a
Brilliant.
few tips. Pasta, it's an easy dish, but if you apply these few tips, then you will have like a great,
Take
amazing
it to the
sauce.
next level.
Exactly.
I love that. Awesome.
So we have our water over there.
Yes.
It's boiling. The sauce, it start to getting ready.
Woo!
Woo.
We almost had an explosion.
And also, what we can do is start to heating up the oven in a grill mode.
Great.
Because we're going to finish our gnocchi into the grill, underneath the grill. So let's bring
Perfect.
the grilling to... the pot doesn't want to stay there.
All right, guys, so check in with you. How are we doing, PayPal team? We've made our gnocchi dough tick. We've got our pasta sauce on the boil. That's kind of simmering away. And then we've got our pot of hot water or boiling water coming to a boil. Also, let's chuck our ovens on. Sorry, that was a very Australian term. Let's put our ovens on. Let's not chuck them on. And how hot do we want our ovens, James?
Let's put it at 180 grill mode. You just want to have the top, the finish, like we're going to finish the gnocchi underneath to give the crusty finish with
Amazing.
the cheese on top.
Great. Sounds
And
good.
let's keep rolling.
Let's keep rolling.
So we're few gnocchi left.
Yes.
Check your water.
Should be boiling.
Our water is boiling.
Yes.
We finished to piling up this little gnocchi here.
So gorgeous.
Everyone will love gnocchi.
Yes.
And also, if you're not cooking all of them, if you don't want to use all of them, you can freeze them.
Perfect. Yes, let's talk about storage.
So you keep like on a tray like this one.
Yeah.
And you put it in the freezer as they are, like separate from each other.
Yeah.
When they get like hard rock, you can just move in zip pack.
Ziploc bags.
Ziploc
okay,
bags.
or plastic bags
Yeah.
with a little...
And when you go to cook them, just don't defrost them. Just put straight away from the freezer into the water.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Clever.
So we have done here.
Perfect.
Now we can move to the boiling water.
Welcome back to our stoves.
Exactly. I need something.
All right, guys, so we've got the pasta, which is rolled out. Our gnocchi is rolled out. Our sauce is still on the boil. It's come to a really nice kind of thickness, still a little saucy. And you can see that our water is bubbling over. Hope you guys are on that same step.
We can add the salt.
Yeah, okay, so water would have reached about 100 degrees now.
Yeah, it's boiling.
That's when your salt is going in.
I'm gonna add like a handful of salt. It sounds a lot, but I think that we use it like quite a lot of water,
Yeah.
so it's fine. Also, you can always adjust the saltiness in the sauce. You can always adjust after a little bit of the flavor.
Question for you. Tell us a little bit about why people add oil to their bowl, to their water,
So-
and is it necessary?
The oil for handmade pasta, it makes kind of sense because the handmade pasta cooks on the top
Yeah.
of the water, while like packaged pasta cooks underneath. Oil stays up,
Yeah.
so there is not really a contact. And also
Got it.
when you go to drain the water, the first things that goes out is the oil. So basically you're just wasting. But in the case of gnocchi or handmade pasta, after a few seconds that they cook on the bottom, they're gonna drop on the top. So a little bit of olive oil, it will be actually good. It will coat the surface. And also, as I said before, sometimes you do things just because they give you a nice reminder of the hey, is here, and you eat sometimes with your memory as well.
It's that nostalgic feel. Nonna used to do it, so we'll do it too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm going to use one of these strainer
Yeah.
just to take off a little bit of the excess flour.
Perfect.
Otherwise, it's going to end it up in the water.
They do really look like these gorgeous little pillows of softness.
Then we're just
Gorgeous.
going to transfer in the water.
Perfect. And generally, how long should they be cooking for, James?
So with the handmade gnocchi, you will see they're gonna come up on the surface. As soon
Okay.
as they come up on the surface, leave it there for 1 minute, maybe 2 minutes, but no longer than that. I
Okay.
would say for this one, 1 minute, because they're
Perfect.
gonna finish to cook in the oven anyway.
Excellent.
So
So once
they-
they've risen to the surface, leave them for another 1 to 2 minutes to cook.
Yeah.
And then we'll take them out. Beautiful.
Get rid of the excess flour,
Perfect.
water in,
Awesome.
bit of oil
Gorgeous.
on top.
Perfect.
And also with handmade pasta, just give always like a stir,
Yeah.
because they tend to attach on the bottom
Yeah.
and they will come up on surface when they start to get ready to cook.
Excellent.
So put back the lid on,
Yeah.
so the water gets back to the boiling point. Once they come up, we're going to transfer in the sauce, and then we're going to put in
The ramekins.
this ramekin over here, and we're going to finish in the oven, grill mode 180 degrees.
Done.
The gnocchi, they come up. We're just
Beautiful.
going to transfer to the sauce.
Great. Oh, they are so gorgeous, like pillowy, soft, beautiful. And they've actually kind of puffed up a little bit. Oh my
See?
gosh. What would we do to get on a plane right now and go to Sorrento?
Bit of parmesan on
Getting
top.
carried away. Gorgeous. Ah, that's just melting into that hot sauce. Beautiful.
Be generous with the parmesan.
Very generous with the
Nice.
parmesan. Let's make it extra cheesy, just like my jokes this afternoon.
And bocconcini, just on top.
Ah, perfect.
You can even break them a little bit, but does it have really
Gorgeous.
too big?
And again, could these guys use something like mozzarella?
Yeah,
or burrata?
anything, any melting
Perfect.
cheese,
Any melting
they will
cheese.
be good.
Great.
And drizzle of olive oil on top.
Beautiful. Excellent.
The ramekin is ready.
Great.
We're gonna stand up all of them, put
Yep.
on a tray, and finish it in the oven for probably 5-6 minutes till you get like a nice crust on top.
At 180 degrees Celsius.
Exactly.
Perfect. Ooh, wow. They look amazing.
Hot.
Feeling hot, hot, hot. I mean, hey guys, it's a party.
Woo! They are.
Wow.
They're actually dancing.
They are dancing.
They can
with
feel the
bubbles.
music, the
Amazing.
bubbles. Final touch.
A bit of now pecorino,
Parmigiano.
parmigiano.
We put Parmigiano before, Parmigiano now.
Excellent.
Just go all over the. Of course, be really careful. This one will be super
Boiling
hot.
hot, so no
Boiling
touching.
hot,
Especially if you've
no
got people in the
touching.
kitchen, make sure the adults are around. One thing that I love that you said, James, in terms of I wish you could smell our kitchen. I think that this is such an incredible idea from PayPal. Thank you so much for putting this together, because these have been some really, really tough times. The fact that we can do this virtually, we're all the way in
Absolutely.
Australia. It's amazing how you guys are all over the world and yet you are transported here today in our Australian kitchen, making Italian food with an Italian chef instructor and a Greek Australian host. Isn't
That's
that cool?
amazing.
That is pretty cool. So thank you, PayPal, for making this happen, because I think it's very, very special that we
Absolutely.
can all be all over the world and yet we can be connected right here tonight in your kitchens. Here we go,
Let's
everyone.
go. Careful because it's gonna be hot.
Okay. And in Italian, bon appetit.
Buon appetito.
Buon appetito.
When I was a kid, I used to lick first the sauce out, so it was not so hot. I was like,
You can
and I
still
was
be a
putting
big
down.
kid, James. All right. Oh yeah, that's like volcanic. Give us a minute. Buon appetito.
Buon appetito.
Cheers, guys.
And big thank you again to PayPal for having us here this evening. We are so happy to have been part of this party.
Absolutely. This year hasn't been easy for anyone, so thank you so much, PayPal, for supporting us all, and we hope everyone enjoys the rest of tonight and the all-together gathering. It was such an honour to be a part of this experience.
Absolutely.
We can't wait to see you soon, PayPal. Enjoy the rest of the festivities. Thank you so much for having us, and buon appetito!
Buon appetito.
Buonasera! Ciao!
Mmm.
Bye.